Chapter 4, Lesson 4, Multiplying Mixed Numbers. Content target: students will understand that multiplying mixed numbers will need to be converted to improper fractions. Our language target today: students will demonstrate this understanding by converting mixed numbers to improper fractions, multiplying, and then simplifying products. So when we look at multiplying a fraction and a mixed number, to multiply a fraction and a mixed number, we first must write the mixed number as an improper fraction. Remember that when mixed numbers are written as improper fractions, the denominator does not change. So such as 2 1/2, in 2 1/2, we take our whole number, 2, and we multiply that by our denominator. So 2 times 2 is 4, and I add that to my numerator. So 4 plus 1 is 5. The 2 stays the same as my fraction. Okay, let's try another one. Here is 3 1/4. Same thing, whole number times the denominator. 3 times 4 is 12. I add that to the numerator. 1 plus 12, 13. 4 stays the same as my denominator. So 3 1/4 is the same as 13/4. So we look at example number 1. Find 1/3 times 1 3/4 and write it as in simplest form. So if you find 1/3 times 1 3/4. So before I can multiply, I have to change 1 3/4 to an improper fraction. So I take 1 times 4. 1 times 4 is 4. I add that to my numerator. 3 plus 4 is 7. The denominator is the same as 4. So now I can multiply. 1 times 7 is 7. 3 times 4 is 12. And 7 is a prime number. It only has factors of 1 in itself. So this fraction is in simplest form. We got example number 2. 5 1/2 times 1/3. So again, 5 1/2 times 1/3. To change 5 1/2, I take 5 times 2, my denominator, the whole number times denominator, that's 10, and I add that to my numerator. So 1 plus 10 is 11. The 2 stays the same as my denominator, times 1/3. And then I multiply. 11 times 1 is 11. 2 times 6, so I'm sorry, 2 times 3 is 6. So then I have to put that in simplest form. I can do this one of a couple ways. One, I can go to my Clever page. Or I can think, how many 6's go into 11? Well, I know 6 goes into 11 one time, which is 6. So 11 minus 6 is 5. And 6 is my denominator, so 6 is my denominator here. Here are 2 more problems. Please pause the video and try these on your own. So 2/3 times 2 1/2. Change my mixed number to an improper fraction. So I take 2 times 2, which is 4, and add that to my numerator. 1 plus 4 is 5. 2 is my denominator. It stays the same. So I have 2/3 times 5 halves. Well, if you remember about cross simplifying, simplify before you multiply, I notice 2 and 2 have a common factor. That's 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 3 and 5 do not have a common one except for 1. So I multiply. 1 times 5 is 5. 3 times 1 is 3. 5/3 is the same as 5 divided by 3 is 1. 1 times 3 is 3. 5 minus 3 is 2. 3 is my denominator. 3 is my denominator. So 2/3 times 1.5 is 1 2/3. Let's look at, let's look at letter B. 3/8 times 3 1/3. Again, change my mixed number to an improper fraction. 3 times 3 is 9, so I add that to my numerator. 1 plus 9 is 10. 3 is my denominator, it stays the same. So if I cross multiply again, I know that 3 goes into 3 one time. 3 goes into 3 once. 8 and 10 don't have, 8 does not go into 10 equally, but there is a common factor, which is 2. So if I divide each by 2, 8 divided by 2 is 4. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So then I multiply 1 times 5, and I get 5. 4 times 1 is 4, and 4 goes into 5 one time. 5 minus 4 is 1. My denominator stays the same as 4. And again, to check your answers, you can go to my Clever page with the big polar bear, and I have all kinds of calculators to help you with simplifying your fractions that you may use at any time. So we'll look at example number 3. The Hoover Dam contains 4.5 million cubic yards of concrete. The Grand Coulee Dam in Washington State contains 2 2/3 times as much concrete. How much concrete does it contain? So we know we have to multiply. So I have 4 1/2 times 2 2/3. So I'm going to write each one of these as an improper fraction. So I'm going to take 4 times 2, which is 8. Add that to my numerator. 1 plus 8 is 9. 2 is my denominator. It stays the same. Times 2 times 3 is 6. 6 plus 2 is 8. And 3 is my denominator. So now I can simplify before I multiply. I know 2 is a factor of 8. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. 8 divided by 2 is 4. I know 3 goes into 9 equally, so 3 goes into 3 once. 9 divided by 3 is 3. So I multiply 3 times 4, which is 12. 1 times 1 is 1. And that equals 12 yards cubic. Letter C, it says Mr. Wilkins is laying bricks to make a rectangular patio. The area he is covering with bricks is 15.5 feet by 9 3/4 feet. What is the area? So to find the area equals length times width. So I have 15.5 times 9 3/4. So again, I'm going to change these both to improper fractions. So 15 times 2 is 30. 30 plus 1 is 31. 2 is my denominator, it stays the same. So I go to the next mixed number. 9 times 4 is 36. 36 plus 3 is 39. 4 is my denominator, so it stays the same. So now I need to multiply. So here is where I would use a regular calculator. And I'm going to take 31 times 39. And I'm going to get 1,209. So I have 1,209 because I had 31 over 2 and 39 over 4. I get 1,209 over 8. So then I have to divide. So I go back to my calculator. I take that number and divide it by 8. And I get 151. And 151 times 8 is 1,208, which means I have 1 left over. I subtract 1,208. That gives me 1 part of 8 left, and that is feet squared. Sorry, some of that disappeared. Last one we have is Mr. Conrad's pecan pie recipe calls for 1 3/4 cups of pecans. He plans to make 8 pies for his family reunion. How many cups of pecans will he need? So we're going to take 1 3/4 times 8. Now, how do I write 8 as a fraction? That's going to be 8 over 1. So we're going to change 1 3/4 to an improper fraction. So I take 1 times 4 is 4. I add that to my numerator. 3 plus 4 is 7. 4 is my denominator, times 8 over 1. I know that 4 is a factor of 8. So 4 divided by 4 is 1. 8 divided by 4 is 2. So now I multiply. 7 times 2 is 14. 1 times 1 is 1. 14 over 1 equals 14 cups.